What's going on, guys? It's Harbz Gaming, and welcome to another installment of our F1 2019 Career Mode series. It's round 3 time, it's time for China. We've got a few upgrades coming into this session, but I say only a few. Unfortunately, again, we've had some failures. So as you see here, the weight reduction and gearbox are okay, but the engine, downforce, probably the two that we wanted more than any, have failed us. So as usual, when that happens, we're going to have to go over and develop those upgrades, get them in time for the next race, hopefully. Yeah, we've only got a week on those, so that's good. That's not too bad. But that is a shame. We could have really done with those upgrades. I think we had a really strong race last week, and if we could have carried on from there, that would have been awesome. So we're going to jump straight into practice, as you know we do. Get to know this circuit as well as we can before testing our tyre wear, our fuel, and everything that we usually do. And then, you know, we'll see how we get on. I've upped the difficulty as well since the last race. Fancied a little bit more of a challenge. I felt that even though I think that we drove extremely well in the last round, I think that partly came down to the AI probably needing to be turned up a little bit as well. So, you know, we're going to make it more and more challenging as we go on.
That's fantastic. You obviously have a really good understanding of this circuit.
As we said before at the start of the series, the ultimate aim is to try and get, at some point, comfortable enough for me to be able to turn the race and line off. I think that's the biggie. We're going through practice. Pace felt really good. Straight line pace, just as before, still there. Playing around with a few setups with the front end. I think sector 3, just before the back straight, we come just out.
Great lap. You've nailed what we asked for. Keep it up.
You come out of the chicane and you go into the long right-hander. I'm having a few issues with that part of the track with this car, so I'm just trying to find the balance. But the good thing is as well that we got a good bundle of points from the first practice session, which meant that we could go ahead and further upgrade the car. So let's go and have a look, see what we've got. So yeah, there we go. We can do our final development on the rear aeros, because we couldn't get that done. We didn't have enough points last time, so at least we know we've definitely got those coming in next week now, which is really good news. So practice 2 then, this is when I usually do a bit of fuel management, a bit of tyre management, as well as the qualifying run. So I think practice 2 is probably the most productive session of the whole weekend, other than the qualifying race, of course, for me, because that's when I find out, can I change my strategy, you know, other than what the AI are going to suggest for me. I just think it's better to leave your options open than to just rely solely on the AI. And yeah, again, it felt good. The car was really well balanced, actually, which was really nice. There wasn't any sort of kick in the rear end other than me putting the power down too early, or, you know, I wasn't losing the back end at all really, and the front was quite responsive.
Now that puts you in P2.
I think looking at my criticisms from the last weekend, as I wasn't massively impressed with the front end, the responsiveness. So, you know, the car just feels a little bit better around this track. I mean, that's kind of a good thing, because I'm not great around this track. I never have been. So I've really got to do something special here, and I know that the pressure's on me already. I know I've got to do that. But as I say, practice pace felt really good. You could see so far there's nothing between me and Norris, which is also really good. That means that he's tagging along. So hopefully the qualifying will follow the same path. I'm kind of hoping that we can get into Q3 this weekend. I mean, it's really hard to tell. It is hard to tell in practice if you're going to do it. I know you have a qualifying run and you have a predicted gap, but, you know, of course, that's a prediction. We don't know where we're going to come. So I'm kind of hoping myself and Lando can get into Q3 and have a good run at the top teams as well. It's clear that we're best of the rest at the moment. That is really clear. So I think we need to capitalise on that. We really need to get a result this weekend. So as you can see, look, I think Lando's done a quali run as well there. If that is the case, you know, I've put in an absolutely incredible lap there. If that's both of us doing quali runs, but you know, that's the kind of benchmark where we're at.
Okay, we don't think we're far away from some rain. I'll keep you updated as the conditions change.
And then just to make it a little bit more interesting, we've got a damp track for the third session, and you know what? Actually, I think I kind of like that. I think because that gives you even more preparation for the race, because you've had an opportunity to see what the car's like on the intermediate / wet tyre, and of course see what the track's like, see if there's any more grip out wide or anything like that, especially out of the exit of turn 2. I think you can run it a little bit wider, find a little bit more grip, which is really good. So yeah, I think it was kind of a blessing in disguise that we had a rainy third session. But I don't really use the third session for much, I'll be completely honest with you. I think I do an ERS management and a few setup runs, and that's about it. So we're watching Lando here as well. He's left it really, really late to post his first time. I find that quite odd, so I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if Lando had something wrong with the car, but we're maximising our time on track for this third stint. You know, just in case we do see rain in the race, I think utilising the fact that we have it in this session is only going to help us when it comes to race day, if we do have any rain. I mean, when Jeff left me his predictions before the sessions, there wasn't any forecasted rain in qualifying or the race, but you never know what can happen. That doesn't mean anything, does it? So it's always better to be prepared. And I think it's also a shame that our aero package failed for this weekend, because I think that would have you would have massively felt the difference of that around this track. So it's kind of a shame, but you know, these things happen. We've just got to do our best and put the car in a good position come the end of the session.
With all the cars now over the line, let's see our top 3 again. Leclerc, Ricciardo and Lewis Hamilton. Sadly, it's time to say goodbye as free practice is over. However, we'll be back shortly for more Formula 1 action.
So our wet pace is looking pretty good, actually. I mean, first race of the season, I struggled massively in the wet, so to see such a big gap to myself and my teammate there, I think that's really good.
Welcome to Shanghai, China, for what I've no doubt is going to be a fantastic F1 qualifying session.
So let's jump straight in then. We jump out on track as soon as we can and get a flying lap in. We actually had to take this lap a little bit later, because when we did jump straight out of the pits, there was so much traffic on track. So we left our run a little bit later, which is why the track was absolutely empty. There's no one on it. Only one lap needed to put us in Q2. But where's Lando? Oof. Damn. There's nothing in that 9,000ths of a second, I believe. But that's I don't know if that's worrying or not. I don't know if that's just myself and Lando setting banker laps, but straight out in Q2, sorry. We're going to set a lap straight off the bat on a set of used soft tyres, just to see where we can place ourselves. And Hamilton's already put in a time, so we'll see if we can get anywhere close to that. I mean, of course, on your first lap, you don't have any reference to your sector times whatsoever, so I have no idea where we're going to be. And Gasly goes faster than Hamilton. So fair play. That's we go faster than Hamilton. Wow, that's a pretty impressive lap. So the car's feeling really good, but again, it's always hard to, unless you get through to Q3, you get to have that shootout with the top 10. You don't really know how good a lap is, in my opinion. So hopefully we get that chance. We're going to see if we can improve on our time here. I mean, it was a really good lap. I mean, we're down 4 tenths at the moment. We don't really seem to be making any ground on that. Oh, I've lost the back end there as well. I think, yeah, I think there's no way we're going to improve on that time. I think we're just going to abort this run. I mean, we look pretty safe. I mean, we're in 5th at the moment. Unless the track was speeding up that quick, I don't think we had anything to worry about. But it's good to see Lando made it as well. That's really good. So both of us in Q3 again. So let's see what we can do. I mean, we've already put it 5th in Q2. And we put it 2nd. What a lap that is. 1:34.5. That's impressive. Oh, Bottas goes and knocks us down to 3rd, but that's still a really, really good first time to set in Q3. That's really strong. So I guess now we just got to see if we can improve on it. So we got to try and beat that now. I mean, what are we? We're not even a 10th up on that time at the moment, and we're actually in 5th again. So we're pretty consistent at the moment. And we are literally running on the exact same time right now. So see if we can break a little bit later, go into the final bend, make a little bit of time. Can we get a 10th? If we can get an extra 10th, I think we've guaranteed the position. Bit of a poor exit from there. Our DRS on. I don't think we're going to improve, but that is 5th.
Good work.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Hamilton, Vettel and Valtteri Bottas. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow.
Lando's not done too bad there. He's 6/10 off me. I think that's kind of been the trend of the game so far. But my teammate's just been lagging slightly behind.
It's time to find out which driver is up to the task of claiming the Chinese Grand Prix. We're here in Shanghai. Shanghai International Circuit then, a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests a driver's patience, and the flat, open to the elements location, tests their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and overtaking is available into turn 1, and of course down the kilometre-long back straight into the hairpin at turn 14. A warm welcome to Anthony Davidson, who's beside me in the commentary box today. They're still relatively new to a sport which does have a high learning curve and, of course, little tolerance for mistakes.
And this is something that has ended the career of many a young driver, as that leap up to Formula 1 proves to be too much. But luckily in this case, I'd say they're doing a good, solid job, and the risk the team took in signing them is definitely starting to pay off.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Leclerc, the rookie, and Verstappen, Gasly, Butler, Norris, and Kimi Raikkonen, Weber, Perez, Daniel Ricciardo, and Hülkenberg, Grosjean, Kvyat, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Alexander Albon. Russell and Robert Kubica takes the last spot on the grid, and with preparation almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Right then, let's do this. 5 lights, let's see if we can get a good start. Come on, I'm feeling this today. Oh, out the gate we're really good, but then we're just bogging down a little bit just after that. As we give Gasly a little touchdown, we've lost it. Oh, Butler's gone. I think we did really well to avoid that. I mean, we've only lost 2 places. Both Red Bulls have jumped us. That's not too bad. I'm kind of happy with that start. Right, okay, I think it's we've definitely lost more places off the start before, so this is really good so far. I've opted to go for the soft tyre and then onto the hard tyre for the second stint. However, I do have a little plan. Based on tyre wear, from what I was seeing from the practice sessions, our tyre wear is really good. So if I can stretch it out, I'm going to try and stretch this first stint as long as I can, realistically, without losing too much time. You know, if the car becomes nearly impossible to drive, then of course I'll end my stint. But I'm going to stretch it for as long as I can, and then maybe switch on to the mediums. The medium is just has a
That Start was okay, now stay alert for threats around you.
Yeah, the medium is a lot faster than the hard tyre. As we see Butler behind us there, he recovered extremely well, considering it looked like at one point he was facing the wrong way.
Lando is out of the race.
Ah. Well, that's not too good. That's not too good at all. Lando's not been getting too much luck recently. And that doesn't really help either, to be honest. There's something about your teammates don't really perform to the same level as you on F1 so far, I've noticed, but that is a real shame. But yeah, going back to it, I think if I'm going to switch over to the mediums instead of the hards, depending on how long I can stretch the first stint out for, because I think that's going to give us a really good chance of making up some places. Maybe, you know, I'm not going to overcut anyone, definitely not. I'll probably lose a few places when I do eventually pit, but
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the hards.
yeah, I'll be considerably quicker on track, and I think that's what we're going to go for here. I mean, we're 4 laps in, 38% tyre wear. Jeff wants us to pit this lap. It's not happening. There is no way I'm going to stretch these until this car feels like it cannot drive anymore. And I also think we're actually gaining on Gasly now. So that's something to bear in mind. I mean, look at the closing speed right now. We've got DRS now. So we're starting to reel him in a bit. I mean, if you notice, Gasly's actually dropped off the pack. And that's working out really well for us, I think. It's going to give us someone to attack. It's keeping us in the game. He's nice and close to us. I mean, we've got a really good exit here. We're going to have DRS. I think the move's already done, if I'm honest with you. Lovely. Back into 6th. That's brilliant. So that's going to bode really well for our strategy as well in the long run. I mean, he's looking back at us here. We're going to have to leave him some room. Oh, this is close. This is really close, but I think we've made it stick. We will just have to cover off any late dive bombs. I don't think he's going to do it. No, he's not gone for it. The only thing I worry about is the tyre wear. Obviously, if I'm fighting with people, potentially going to be wearing the tyres down a lot more. If I'm having to be later on the brakes or put in some manoeuvres. But we're lucky here because we're getting really good tow from Hamilton. We've got DRS from Hamilton. And we know the Red Bull's not very fast in a straight line anyway, so that's helped us defend us. Gasly gives us a little tap for our troubles. Bit of wheel-on-wheel action there. I think we're safe there. There's no damage. No problems. Hamilton dives in the pits. So that's a little bit troublesome for us, especially if Gasly has stayed out.
Box. We're coming in this lap.
And he has done just that. He is right on our gearbox. I mean, it's interesting to see the different lines being used there, but Gasly just won't go away. He is sticking around for the long run. But again, you know, I don't know what this means for our race strategy. If Gasly's going to be doing the same as us and he's going to go onto the mediums, then I kind of fear for our race position a little bit if he's going to do that, because, you know, the Red Bull's obviously the faster car. At the moment it isn't.
Box now, please. Box this lap.
Jeff is extremely desperate for me to pit, but I'm going to completely ignore what he's saying. Hopefully Gasly's gone it. No, he hasn't. He's still with me. So I don't know what Christian Horner said to his guys, but I think they're just going to do whatever I do, by the looks of things, because he's definitely on the soft. We can see that. So what's he still doing out here? I have no idea. But we're just going to have to race our own race, not worry about Gasly. I mean, we don't know who we're racing in this. We don't know how we're going to do. I'm completely just throwing caution to the wind here. But we're going to dive it in. Lap 8. 3 or 4 laps later than planned. And will you look at that? Gasly has actually followed us into the pit lane. We thought he was going to, and he actually has. So come on, team. We've got to make sure we don't get jumped here. Good stop, please.
Release.
2.3 seconds, I'll take that. And Gasly's still behind us as well. So that's really good. So this is where the race begins now, guys.
Only one stop to go. One stop left in this
So
strategy.
Jeff thinks we're stopping again as Butler actually pulls out in front of us. So, well, we know from the very start of the race that Butler was behind us as he entered T1 on a 45-degree angle. So like I said to you, we were never going to make places up. We were never going to overcut anyone. So we're just going to have to, you know, we're going to have to do the racing now. For this strategy to work, I have to be fast. I can't be held up. I can't overheat the tyres. I have to get past people as quickly as possible with minimal fuss. We're going to have more grip here as well. I mean, we're going to send one around the outside, late dive up the inside. We're squirming a little bit. And we made it stick. I think that's a really nice move. On fresher tyres, that's the kind of thing that we should expect from everyone now. We're going to have fresher tyres. We're going to have more grip. We're going to be faster. And we can make moves like that stick, which is really good. Butler is coming back at us, though, which is interesting. And he's locked up a little bit, which isn't going to help him at all in the slightest. Luckily on this game, we don't get flat spots, so that shouldn't cause too much of an issue. But yeah, like I said, we're going to have to really make some progress here to make this strategy work. I'm not really sure if. I mean, it's very hard to tell.
Some information on Leclerc. They have an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Yeah, it's very hard to tell what kind of strategies everyone's going for, but I doubt very much anyone's going to go for a two-stop. Any of the front runners, that would be extremely unlikely, I believe. But we've got a really good exit here on the Williams. We're going to have DRS as well. So we should make light work of this. We're going to go to the outside. I think the move's already done, to be honest. I can't see Qubits are trying to come back at us, but yeah, there we go. So we put a car between ourselves and Butler, just in case.
Engines showing small signs of wear. Power output will be down.
Oh, come on, Jeff. Not now. Not now. We have a plan.
It seems they fixed whatever the problem was. They're coming back up to speed.
Why you guys got to do me like that? Jeez. Alright, okay, so it turns out that was absolutely nothing to worry about whatsoever. So we'll just crack on with our race, shall we? So we've got another Williams. This should be light work as well. I mean, we're already reeling rustling. I think we're going to probably get this move done before the DRS zone-ish. But what's interesting is that we've got Leclerc just ahead of us now. And he's on the hard compound tyre, which is exactly what we want to see. That is exactly what I wanted to see when I thought about switching to this tactic, is that not only is he on the slower tyre, it's also the older tyre. So I've noticed that the AI tends to make decisions like this. Quite strange, but I'm going to capitalise from it. And as you can see, I'm absolutely reeling Leclerc in. I've just got so much more grip. The question is the Ferrari's straight line pace relative to that of real life? Can we pull Leclerc in here? The switch to medium. Good tyre wear still. We're going to go for a late dive around the outside. Fresher tyres. We will have to give him a little bit of room so he has come back. All four wheels off the track.
Okay, good work. Great pass.
Thanks, Jeff, but I'm pretty sure if that was real life, I'd have to give that position back right now. I've gone off the track, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. We've got a job to do. We're going to have to just crack on with this. So we've got Verstappen fighting with Giovinazzi up top. Again, that's quite useful. Whoa. I was not expecting to close that quickly. Lost the back end a little bit there. So Giovinazzi dives in, actually. That's a little bit of a shame. We could have probably used the toe there. But, you know, as you can see, Verstappen's being held up by the midfield quite a lot. As we're going to go try and go around the outside of Albon. And are we going to get Verstappen in the same corner? We're going to go for it. We're making a habit of this at the moment, going for these late dives around the outside of multiple cars. But we're still hanging it in there. Verstappen on the slower tyre as well, as we dive one up the inside. make that move stick as well for P4, which I think is P2 once everyone pits. So I think that move's worked out really well because we squeezed Max wide a little bit. He lost a little bit of time, as you can see there. He's dropped back, so that's given us a nice window. So yeah, the guys in front actually have now pitted, and we're P2, guys. We're P2. As you can see, tyre wear again non-existent, 42%. You know, we've been out on these tyres for...
Okay, you're in the top 10.
Yeah, we've been out on these tyres for, what, 15, 13, 14 laps? And,
There's 5 laps of fuel remaining.
And yeah, the tyre wear is just fantastic. So I just got to make sure I don't, you know, overdrive the car now to stay in front of Max. I think if Max does start crawling back at us, because we've got a little bit of a gap. It's nothing special, but there is a gap. But if Max does start coming back, I mean, I'm happy with the podium regardless. Do I really want to put myself in a position where I completely lose the life of my tyres and risk a puncture just to defend the position? I don't know. We'll have to see. There's something we'll have to think about if that time comes around. But for the time being, I'm over the moon. This has actually worked. This is something I'm going to have to take into consideration in further races, because yeah, the AI's tyre choice sometimes is extremely questionable. I mean, I couldn't care less. They can pick whatever they choose, but just didn't seem like the right choice today for me. So we're putting all of our practice runs into good effect here, as Max is actually clawing us back. We've only got 2 laps left. Well, a lap and a bit. And as you can see, Max is right back at us. I mean, we might as well try and keep this position now, haven't we? There's 1 lap left. What's our tyre wear looking like? I think we're somewhere in the 60s.
This is your final lap of the race.
Going slightly defensive into the first corner. We're just gonna have to try and put up with everything Max throws at us, but we are losing considerable grip now. You can feel it, you can see it as well. It's front end of the car isn't pointing into the corners. I'm losing the back end.
There's only 1 lap of fuel remaining.
Losing the back end on corner exit, but Max is really, really going for us now. He's going to send one round the outside. But we blocked him off there again. Losing the back end a little bit, putting the power down, but all of that effort of Max's was to absolutely no avail. We've actually held him off. We held him off all the way around. Guys, that's P2.
Thank you for all your hard work out there. That was a strong drive and a good finish. Well done.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Wow. I didn't think I'd ever be seeing that. The orange and blue and P2. Oh, God.
And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. Well, the gap at the top of the championship has been cut down after a difficult race today for our championship leader. Now, let's discuss, Ants. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I think it's got to be Lucas Weber. Time and time again, he proves that he's someone who can quietly get the job done, and that's exactly what he's done today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the...
Does anyone else feel like they just draw the driver of the day out of a hat? Because I don't know where you get Weber from. I mean, it was clearly me.
Just wanted to say congrats on the podium. It's thoroughly deserved. We were sweating those last few laps on the pit wall, but you brought it home.
Thanks, Jeff. I mean, the good news coming from that is that we have got a bunch of points. And if I remember rightly, we have a major upgrade that we can apply. Yeah, there we go. We've got the rear floor major upgrade that we can apply. There's a little bit of a wait. It's 3 weeks. Of course, it's major. It's not going to be a quick turnaround, but that's really good. I'm actually quite excited to see what kind of changes that makes to the car and what we can expect to see off the back of that. But we've got our powertrain upgrade, our rear downforce upgrade coming in for next week, Azerbaijan as well. So that's really, really good. We know they won't fail. They're redeveloped parts. The Harbz, and well, the Harbz is catching up with us actually, so we need to make some major steps forward. So if you want to see how that goes, then stay tuned for the next episode, guys. Drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel for even more Formula 1 content and other games, of course. So I've been Harbz Gaming. See you next time, guys. Ciao.